When a man truly loves a woman, something subtle but powerful happens inside him. His priorities start to shift, not in a way where he loses himself or abandons who he is, but in a way that shows he's no longer thinking only about himself. He begins to carry her in his decisions. He thinks about how his choices affect her, how his actions might impact her peace, her comfort, her happiness. That doesn't mean he stops caring about his own life, his dreams, his responsibilities. It means she becomes a part of them. She's not an afterthought. She's woven into the way he sees his future. Think about it. Most men are taught to be independent, to stand on their own 2 feet, to be providers, protectors, leaders. And when they're single, they can move freely without having to explain themselves or adjust their lives for anyone else. But when a man loves a woman deeply, he starts making room, not because she asks, not because she demands it, but because he wants to. That's the difference. Love turns obligation into desire. Suddenly he's not just asking, "What do I want to do?" He's asking, "What would make sense for us? How does this affect her?" That's love quietly working in the background. And here's what most people miss. Putting her first doesn't mean neglecting himself. It's not about erasing his identity or giving up his purpose. In fact, when a man loves a woman, he often becomes more focused, more grounded, more intentional with his life. Why? Because he has someone to protect, someone to inspire him, someone who makes him want to grow into a stronger version of himself. Love sharpens him. It stretches him. It makes him consider the bigger picture. Picture this. A man who used to spend his weekends only on himself, video games, nights out, whatever. Now, he still enjoys those things, but he thinks, would she like to come along? Would she enjoy this experience with me? Or maybe I'd rather spend that time making memories with her. That's not weakness, that's strength. It takes strength to allow someone else's happiness to influence your decisions. And when it's real love, he doesn't resent it. He doesn't feel chained by it. He feels fueled by it. It shows up in the small ways too. He notices when she's had a long day and decides to pick up dinner instead of waiting for her to cook. He chooses to drive her safely home instead of letting her Uber alone at night. He plans around her important days, not because he has to, but because he wants to honor what matters to her. These are little adjustments, but they're proof of a bigger truth. She's a priority. Not an option, not a convenience, but a priority. And here's where it gets even deeper. A man who truly loves doesn't keep a scoreboard. He doesn't say, "Well, I put her first 3 times this week, so she owes me now." That's not love, that's negotiation. Real love is when his heart shifts in such a way that her joy adds to his joy. Her peace becomes his peace. He can still be his own person, still chase his own goals, but now everything is colored by the fact that he's not in this life alone anymore. So if you've ever wondered whether a man's love is genuine, don't just listen to the words he says. Watch how he rearranges his life. Watch how he balances his world so that you're not pushed to the edges, but brought into the center. That's the quiet mark of love you can trust. Because when a man loves a woman, he doesn't lose himself. He expands himself. When a man is in love, one of the clearest ways it shows is in how he protects her peace. And I'm not just talking about stepping in if someone disrespects her, or making sure she gets home safe at night. That's part of it, yes, but protecting her peace runs deeper. It's about being a safe place for her heart, her mind, and her emotions. It's about making sure that when she's with him, she doesn't have to walk on eggshells, she doesn't have to pretend, and she doesn't have to fight for space just to feel understood. See, anybody can say, "I love you." Anybody can buy gifts or put on charm when things are easy. But the man who really loves a woman shows it in how he makes her feel when life gets loud, when stress builds up, when the world tries to drain her. He becomes the one she can exhale with. He becomes the calm in her storm. That doesn't mean he fixes all her problems. It means he stands steady with her in them, so she never has to wonder if she's carrying her burdens alone. It shows in the way he speaks to her. Instead of raising his voice to prove a point, he learns to use his words to build her up. Instead of making her feel small when she's vulnerable, he reassures her that she's safe being herself. He pays attention to how his tone, his reactions, even his silence affect her. Because deep down, he understands that protecting her peace isn't just about what he does in public. It's also about what he chooses to do behind closed doors. Now, protecting her peace doesn't mean he agrees with her on everything or avoids every disagreement. Real love can handle healthy conflict. The difference is, when he loves her, he fights fair. He doesn't weaponize her insecurities. He doesn't throw her mistakes back at her. He doesn't use her vulnerabilities as leverage. He protects her peace even when they're not on the same page, because his goal isn't to win against her, it's to win with her. And it's not just in the heavy moments. It's in the little ones, too. He notices when she's overwhelmed and steps in without being asked, whether that's handling something small around the house, giving her space to recharge, or just holding her close without needing to fix anything. Protecting her peace is as much about presence as it is about action. Sometimes the most powerful way he loves her is simply by being there, fully, without distraction, so she knows she has someone she can lean on. What makes this powerful is that it's not always visible to others. Outsiders may never notice it, but she feels it deeply. She feels the difference between a man who adds chaos to her life and one who helps her breathe easier. She feels the difference between a man who drains her energy and one who protects it. And once you've experienced that kind of love, you know how rare and valuable it is. So when you're looking at a man and asking yourself if he really loves you, pay attention to this. Does he guard your heart, your peace of mind, your emotional safety? Does he make you feel more settled, more steady, more supported just by being in your life? Because words can be rehearsed, gestures can be copied, but the way a man protects your peace, that's real, and that's love you can trust. Because when a man loves a woman, her peace becomes his priority. When a man is truly in love, the way he listens changes. It's not the surface-level kind of listening where he nods along just to get through the conversation. It's not the distracted kind where his mind is somewhere else while she's speaking. No, when he loves her, he listens differently. He listens with intent, with focus, with respect. He's not just hearing words, he's tuning into what those words mean, what they feel like, what they cost her to say. And that kind of listening is rare, because it requires more than ears. It requires heart. Think about how easy it is in today's world to be distracted. Phones buzzing, work deadlines, the noise of life pulling us in 1,000 directions. But when a man loves a woman, he learns how to shut that noise out, even if just for a moment, and give her something priceless, his full attention. Because for him, her words carry weight. He wants to know what excites her, what worries her, what dreams she's chasing, what fears she's hiding. Listening becomes less about waiting for his turn to speak, and more about understanding her world. It shows in the way he remembers. A man who loves will hold onto the little details, the name of her childhood friend, the coffee order she always gets, the story she told him about her first heartbreak. Not because he's trying to score points, but because her words matter to him, her life matters to him, and when she talks, he sees it as a chance to step deeper into her heart. This kind of listening also changes how he responds. Instead of rushing to fix everything, sometimes he learns to just be present. He realizes that she doesn't always need a solution. Sometimes she just needs someone who gets it, someone who will sit with her in the frustration, the fear, or even the silence. And that shift, choosing to understand instead of just react, is one of the clearest signs of love. You'll notice it in conflict too. when emotions are high and voices could easily rise, the man who loves listens carefully before responding. He doesn't cut her off, doesn't dismiss her feelings as too much or not logical. Even if he disagrees, he still honors her perspective because he knows her voice deserves space. That doesn't mean he'll always get it right. Nobody does, but love makes him willing to keep trying, to keep improving the way he hears her. And here's the beauty of it. When a woman feels truly listened to, she feels safe. She feels seen. She feels valued. And that safety allows her to open up more, to trust more, to love deeper in return. It creates a cycle where both hearts get stronger because one man chose to listen differently. So, if you're ever questioning a man's love, pay attention to his ears as much as his words. Does he make you feel like your voice has a place in his world? Does he hold space for your thoughts, your feelings, even when they're inconvenient? Does he listen in a way that makes you believe you matter? Because when a man is truly in love, he doesn't just hear the sound of your voice. He hears you. Because when a man loves a woman, listening to her becomes his way of loving her. When a man is in love, sacrifice stops being a burden and starts becoming natural. And the key difference is this: he doesn't keep score. He's not giving so he can get something back. He's not sacrificing just to remind her later of how much he's done. No, when love is real, giving feels less like loss and more like investment. He finds joy in seeing her smile, in knowing she feels supported, in watching her life get lighter because of something he chose to do. That's how you know it's love. It's not about what he gains, it's about what she feels. Now, it doesn't always look dramatic. It's not always some grand gesture, quitting his job and moving across the world. Often, it's in the small, everyday choices. He chooses to leave work a little early so he can be there for dinner. He gives up a Saturday morning of sleeping in so he can help her run errands. He cancels plans with the guys when he knows she really needs him close. To anyone else, these might look like little things, but to her they say everything because they reveal where his heart is. And here's the thing: sacrifice without love breeds resentment, but sacrifice with love breeds connection. A man who doesn't truly love will give only to take later, or he'll remind her how much he's doing, almost like she owes him. But a man in love doesn't live in that mindset. He gives because he wants her life to be better, and that's the reward in itself. It's not a transaction, it's an expression of devotion. You'll notice that in how he treats time. Time is one of the most valuable things any of us have, and when a man loves, he willingly shares it. Even when he's tired, even when it's inconvenient, even when it means putting aside something he wants, he chooses her, not because he has to, not because she asked, but because it matters to him that she feels prioritized. That's sacrifice in its purest form, quiet, steady, and without conditions. And sacrifice doesn't only show up in the easy moments. It shows up when things are hard. When she's going through a storm, a man in love is willing to carry more weight so she can breathe easier. He takes on more responsibility, not because it's simple, but because her peace is worth the cost. It's in the way he chooses to show patience when she's stressed, or the way he chooses forgiveness when she makes a mistake. Sacrificing pride, sacrificing ego, that's just as real as sacrificing time or comfort. But don't mistake this for weakness. It takes strength to love like this. It takes strength to consistently give without needing recognition, to put someone else's needs alongside your own without losing who you are. That's the paradox of love. It makes you strong enough to bend, strong enough to yield, strong enough to let go of selfishness for the sake of something bigger. So when you want to know if a man truly loves, watch how he gives. Watch how he sacrifices, not in what he says, but in what he's willing to let go of to see her thrive, because love isn't proven in convenience, it's proven in sacrifice, because when a man loves a woman, sacrifice stops being a cost and starts being a choice. When a man is in love, one of the clearest ways you'll see it is in his consistency. And I'm not talking about the kind of consistency that only shows up in the beginning, when everything is exciting and new. Anyone can do that. Anyone can put on their best behavior for a few weeks or a few months. Real love isn't measured by how strong the spark is at the start. It's measured by the steady flame that keeps burning when the excitement fades, when life gets busy, when things aren't easy anymore. Consistency is what separates someone who just wants the idea of love from someone who is truly committed. A man in love doesn't just show up when it's convenient or when it benefits him. He shows up when he's tired, when he's stressed, when there are 100 other things pulling at him. Not perfectly, not without mistakes, but with a steady pattern that says, "You can count on me." And that's powerful because love isn't proven in the high moments. It's proven in the ordinary ones. It's in the way he texts back even when his day is packed, just to let her know she's on his mind. It's in the way he keeps date night even after a long week, because he knows those little moments of connection matter. It's in the way he keeps checking in on her heart, not just at the beginning when he's trying to win her over, but months and years later, when routine could easily take over. That's consistency. It's not flashy, but it's trustworthy. And here's the thing. Passion alone can't hold a relationship together. Passion is exciting, but it's consistency that builds trust. Passion is the spark, but consistency is the fuel. A man who's in love understands that showing up day after day, in the big and small ways, is what makes her feel safe, valued, and chosen. Love without consistency leaves doubt. Love with consistency creates security. You'll notice it especially in the harder seasons, when disagreements come up, when work is stressful, when life feels overwhelming. It's easy for someone who isn't truly committed to pull back. But a man in love leans in. Even if the conversation is uncomfortable, even if the situation is draining, he still chooses to stay present. He doesn't disappear when things get tough. He proves his love in how he stays steady through it. This doesn't mean he's perfect or that he never slips up. Consistency doesn't mean flawless. It means reliable. It means that even when he falls short, he owns it, and then he comes back stronger. It means that his words line up with his actions over time, so she doesn't have to wonder if his love is real. She knows it is, because he keeps showing it. And that's one of the most beautiful parts of love, the quiet reliability. The kind that says, "You don't have to question me, you don't have to chase me, I'm here, I've chosen you, and I'll keep choosing you." That's not dramatic, that's not loud, but it's powerful, because consistency builds a foundation no storm can shake. Because when a man loves a woman, passion might draw him close, but consistency is what keeps him there. One of the most powerful signs of love is when a man lets his guard down. Because the truth is, most men are raised to be strong, to hold it together, to hide their fears and push down their emotions. They're taught that vulnerability is weakness, that showing too much is risky, that keeping walls up keeps them safe. And so, for most of their lives, they carry that armor. But when a man loves a woman, something changes. He starts to feel safe enough to take some of that armor off. He allows himself to be seen, not just in his strengths, but in his struggles too. This doesn't happen overnight. At first, he may still test the waters. He may share a little piece of his past or a small worry about his future, just to see how she responds. And when he realizes she doesn't judge him, when she listens, when she holds his honesty with care, that's when the walls begin to come down even more. He begins to talk about the things he never shares with anyone else, the fears that keep him awake at night, the doubts he carries, the dreams he doesn't want to admit out loud. And in those moments, it's not weakness at all. It's strength, Because it takes courage to hand someone the keys to your heart and trust them not to break it. When a man is in love, his vulnerability isn't just about words. It's in the way he allows her to see him on his bad days, not just his best ones. It's in the way he admits when he doesn't have all the answers. It's in the way he asks for help, even when his pride would rather keep him silent. Those little acts of openness, those are the deepest expressions of love, because they say, I trust you enough to show you the unpolished parts of me. And here's what's important to understand. Men don't do this with just anyone. Most men will go through life keeping those walls high with almost everybody. They'll laugh, they'll joke, they'll talk about surface, level things, but the inner world, that stays locked up. When he chooses to unlock that door for her, it's not casual, it's not random, it's love. It also shows up in how he allows her to influence him. A man who loves is willing to let her perspective shape the way he thinks, the way he grows, the way he handles life. Not because he's weak, but because he values her insight. He lets her in enough that her voice matters, and he's not afraid to admit when she's right or when he needs to change. That kind of humility doesn't come from infatuation. It comes from real love. And there's something else vulnerability creates. Intimacy. Not the kind built only on attraction, but the kind that weaves two hearts together. Because intimacy is really about being known. And when a man lets his guard down, he's giving her that gift, the chance to know him, not just the mask he wears for the world. That's where the deepest connections are formed. That's where love grows roots that last. So if you've ever wondered if a man truly loves you, watch how much of himself he shares. Does he let you see the parts he hides from others? Does he allow you into the spaces he usually keeps locked away? Because when a man loves a woman, he doesn't just give her the strong version of himself. He gives her the real one. Because when a man loves a woman, his guard comes down and his heart opens up.